salary board for the county, followed by the formal board of commissioners meeting, June 22nd, 2023, appointed hour 9:35. So we'll get started with the first meeting, which is the salary board. We'll call the meeting to order, begin with a roll call of members present, please.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Commissioner Fauci. I'm here. Commissioner DiFilippo.
Present.
And Controller Whitcomb.
Here.
Okay, thank you. All right, that moves us into public comments, or anyone having comment for the salary board portion of this morning's meetings. Now's your time. Not seeing anything, no one online.
No.
Okay, that moves us to item 4. We have the minutes in hand of our June 8th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 8th.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed. That moves us to item 5. We have salary board actions on the table for today. And
I'll make a motion to approve the salary board actions except for the treasurer, the sheriff, the recorder of deeds, and the district attorney.
I'll second.
okay, so it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, other motions.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the salary board action for my office. And
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'll
Sure.
make a motion to approve the positions for the sheriff's office.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Recorder deeds.
I make a motion to approve the positions for the Office of the Recorder of Deeds.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
District attorney.
And I make a motion to approve the positions for district attorney's office.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, thank you all. That completes item 5, salary board actions. Brings us to item 6, other business to come before salary board. Apparently there is none, so I ask for a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We stand adjourned. That moves us into the board of commissioners meeting. We ask everyone to stand and miss the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you for that. That moves us. We'll call the meeting to order. Begin with roll call of members.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Commissioner Fauci. I'm here. Commissioner DiFilippo.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Moves us to item 3. Now's the opportunity for public comment on any non-agenda items. We have some visitors today, I'm sure.
Sure. I'm Larry Barrick with Dickinson Township and also here representing the Western Cumberland County Council of Governments. Kevin Blaster is here with me from Shippensburg Borough as well. And we were kind of shocked to not see the P25 discussion on the agenda due to the decision that needs to be made as far as if the county is going to agree to pay out the grant funding for if a township, borough, or emergency services elects to not go with the purchase of the Motorola radios versus the Harris radios. So we're just wondering where we're at with that, when the decision will be made, and see where we stand.
It's been several days since we had an update. Kevin, did you want to add anything?
No, I just.
Okay. All right.
It's next Tuesday. Thank you. So next Tuesday, we have a public safety meeting at 10 a.m. and then we have executive sessions scheduled, I believe, directly thereafter to have the discussion. And then I'm going to make an assumption that there will be a decision then made at a public meeting very soon thereafter. I certainly understand that this is an urgent matter and of deep concern to many of our municipalities, first responders. Thank you for coming in and asking the question.
If my comment and understanding is the same as Commissioner Fauci, will be making a decision on this shortly at a public meeting.
The only thing I would add is it's one of the reasons this is not moved to conclusion yet is I know we had asked a number of questions of Harris to ensure that any decision that's made is made with a full range of information. There are no surprises to whatever decision's made. So we are, I believe, still in information gathering mode, or do we now have,
I think the information will come forward next week.
the information will come forward next week to us, apparently. So, stay tuned. It'll run its course here in the near future.
Thank you for allowing us.
Thank you. Sorry, anything additional?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any additional public comment? Do we have anyone online?
No, we don't.
All right. Okay, I will turn this over to COO Stacy Snyder regarding consent agenda items.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. The next section of the agenda is the consent agenda. It contains a list of routine items that do not appear controversial in nature and which seem not to require any additional discussion. Those are agenda items 4 through 13. If anyone does wish any of those agenda items to be discussed, I would request something to be said now.
Yeah, I asked that item 12 be moved to the regular agenda so we have an opportunity that's designated $25.3 million. That's a pretty hefty amount, and I think it deserves a little bit of public disclosure. So we have Dana available to us to discuss what the commissioners have heard that would be helpful.
Are there any other agenda items that anyone wishes to move from the consent agenda? Commissioners, I would request then that the consent agenda, except for agenda item 12, which has been moved to the regular agenda, be acted upon. And
Yeah, we have a motion for that.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of item 12, which will be moved to the regular agenda for today.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, it's moved and seconded. All in favor and keep us say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay.
thank you, Commissioners. We now review the agenda. It's for the regular agenda.
Do we?
Oh, okay.
Okay, just double checking. Okay, so we'll then have discussion on agenda item 12, and I'll call on Dana Best to provide some background information. Good morning, Dana.
Good morning. So we're requesting that the commissioners approve moving the committed fund balance from the committed fund balance into the assigned fund balance. What that will give us is the ability to manage it within finance, and everything will be still have full disclosure. We'll run the spreadsheets, but we won't have to set up a separate accounting unit. So a lot of the projects are a combination of funding sources. And if we would have to track it to the level of detail and in a separate accounting unit, it would require us to split up total project costs. So for the long run, we think this is the best way to manage the fund balance. There's not very much difference between committed and assigned fund balance. The difference is the level of authority. We will not move anything out of committed or assigned fund balance unless it is via an approved project by the commissioners, with the exception of the amount of money that was set aside for fund balance stabilization.
Any questions for Dana?
No.
I have none. Okay, very good. So we'll be looking for a motion on that action.
I will move it to designate $25,300,000 in committed fund balance to assigned fund balance.
A second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. If there's no further questions, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Dana, for the explanation.
Thank you, Commissioners. So moving into the remainder of the regular agenda, we'll start with agenda item 14. I'll call on Kristen Ritchie to discuss the letter of support for Comcast application for broadband infrastructure. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to present this to you today. My name is Kristen Ritchie. I'm a senior manager of external affairs for Comcast. I'm based in the Harrisburg area, and Comcast plans to apply to the state for broadband expansion funding through the CPF program, the Capital Projects Fund. And we have identified some areas in Cumberland County where we'd like to submit applications. So I'm here to request your support. I'll just take a minute or two to provide a little bit of background. We've expanded our plant in the county nearly 300 miles over the past 3 years. So we have been expanding with our own private capital, but there are some areas that are a little bit further from our current network, where we're looking for some subsidy funding to help support construction. That would be integrated into our existing system, which is supported out of tech centers in Shippensburg and Harrisburg. We also have Xfinity stores for customers in both Carlisle and the Mechanicsburg area. The proposed project, I did share a map of the proposed projects with Mr. Stoner. They're mainly in the western part of the county, and then there's also some unserved areas in the central part of the county. Comcast is investing $4 to $5 million of our own capital for these projects. We have them divided into two separate areas based on our infrastructure and the number of unserved homes. So, like I said, I'm here to ask for your support via a support letter. I'd be happy to share a draft letter if you'd like that we would submit with our application. The initial program deadline was July 10th. The state has since extended that to August 9th. So we would just ask for the support letter by mid-July if possible. I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have.
I have one question, just to clarify. So the public money is for the capital investment of the extension of your lines, but the subscriber funds that you collect from the subscribers, then just you keep all of that?
The state funds would just support construction. That's correct.
I have nothing further. Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion on the letter of support.
Move to approve a letter supporting Comcast's application to the COVID-19 ARPA Capital Projects Fund Broadband Infrastructure Program.
A second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. If there's no further questions, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. There you go.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for attending, Kristen.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That takes us then to agenda item 15, which is discussion and approval regarding the facilities master plan or request for proposals. Now calling Kirk Stoner to discuss. He's not online.
I emailed him to see, excuse me, I emailed him, but I haven't heard back from him.
Okay.
Online.
Well, commissioners, I believe I can at least get this one started, and we'll see if maybe Kirk is having some technical difficulties this morning. As you saw recently in a finance meeting, we put together a facilities master plan request, and that would include Toby Fauver, who is our consultant, Kirk Stoner, input from Brent Durham, facilities director, to really get a sense as to what our facilities offer us, what we need from our facilities. And we're really looking at this not just from a point in time today, but really looking at the next 20, 30 years to make sure that our facilities suit the Cumberland County of today and the Cumberland County of tomorrow. So the request for proposals would be to engage a firm to begin that study. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
We have no dollar amounts attached to this currently, so.
There are not, we didn't want to attach a dollar amount because we don't want to,
I understand.
yeah.
Bidding process. Okay, so we'll need a motion for that to occur.
I will move to approve to release the Cumberland County Facilities Master Plan request for proposals for review and response by potential proposers.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. There's no further questions. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'll turn the meeting over now to Angela Smyser, who's going to cover the contracts.
Thank you, Stacy. Good morning, everybody.
For agenda item 16, I'll start by calling on Kim Winton to discuss the contract for aging and community service. Good morning, Kim.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. This is a participation agreement with Department of Human Services. It's to access the PA Homeless Management Information System. HMIS is a software that captures client-level information over time on characteristics and services needed for men, women, and children at risk or experiencing homelessness. It enables an efficient use of services through the coordinated entry process. The coordinated entry process system coordinates and manages access, assessment, and referral to housing and service person experiencing or at risk of homelessness.
Any questions? Okay.
So we're looking for approval on this today.
Yes, make a motion to approve the PA DCED homeless management information system contract for aging and community services.
A second.
Moved and seconded. There's no further questions. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
carries.
Thank you, Kim. All right, moving on to agenda item 17, I will call on Jamie Reiber to discuss the contracts for children and youth. Good morning, Jamie.
Morning, everyone. The first contract I have, and these are all for the 23-24 fiscal year. The first one is the Devereaux Foundation, doing business as Devereaux Advanced Behavioral Health. This is a standard agreement for one child that we have placed in this facility. They are currently transitioning their programs, combining some programs, and going through a licensing process. So we are going to be paying $352 per day now. However, once everything goes through, the insurance will be paying for this child's placement. We're also including $40 per hour for one-on-one services. If it is ever needed, it's not necessarily going to be used though. The second one is National Mentor Healthcare, doing business as Pennsylvania Mentor. This is one of our foster care agencies. They did not have any increases to their rates this year, but we did add an additional level of care. It's CRR, Community Residential Rehabilitation Services. It's their treatment only. It's $196.74 per day, and this would only be needed if the insurance did not approve this placement. Otherwise, insurance will be paying for this level of care. The next one is Hoffman Homes. This is for shelter and transitional living. The transitional living program actually decreased this year from $1,000 a day to $888.99 a day. And the shelter increased from $400 to $425. This is pretty comparable to our other shelters. And due to operation cost, hiring additional therapists to meet the needs of the youth in their shelter, and providing them with trauma therapy, they are requesting that increase in their shelter rate this year. Alternative Behavioral Consultants, also known as ABC, is our parenting provider. They provide visitation services, parenting classes, and work with our families in reunifying and returning children back to the parents. They did ask for several increases in their multiple rates, ranging from 2.27% to 18%. The highest increase is actually going towards their transportation.
Jamie's frozen.
Can you hear me?
Jamie, you froze on us for a
I was
moment there.
gonna
We can hear
say,
you
I thought
now.
everybody else was frozen. I'm sorry. What did you hear last? Sorry.
We heard about ABC. You were moving on to the last one.
Okay. Outside In School of Experiential Education. This is one of our placement providers also. They did not increase any of their rates either, but they did add an additional program, Pathway to Recovery. And this is an additional service available to youth in their placement program for drug and alcohol. Any questions? Or anything I didn't say when I was frozen?
No questions for Jamie?
Nope, no question.
Okay, we're looking for approval today then.
I'll move to approve the contracts for children and youth as set forth on the agenda and discussed this morning.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Right, moving on to agenda item 18, I will call on Annie Strite to discuss a grant for the Commissioner's Office. This is regarding the Crisis Walk-in Center. Good morning, Annie.
Yes, good morning, all. As you perhaps recall, we submitted a grant proposal to the state back in November and were awarded a $13 million grant, $13,093,364 to be exact. And it's a joint proposal between Cumberland, Perry, and Dauphin counties. Of course, we operate as a jointer, Cumberland and Perry Counties Mental Health Office. But we are jointly working on this project to develop a regional crisis walk-in center. And you have before you a memorandum of understanding that's been drafted and reviewed by all three counties' solicitors. Our solicitor, Keith Brenneman, actually wrote the draft, and then there were just a small changes in it. But the memorandum of understanding was signed earlier this week by the Dauphin County Commissioners. And now we're working our way through the process of having our Board of Commissioners and then the Perry County Board of Commissioners also sign the memorandum of understanding, which outlines basically how the project will continue to proceed, how the funds will be expended, and how we will basically develop the program from here forward. Do you have any questions?
No.
I have none now.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we'll be looking for action on this as well.
Move to approve the memorandum of understanding with Dauphin County and Perry County with regards to the regional crisis walk-in center grant for the Commissioner's Office as presented today.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. All right, moving on to agenda item 19, I will call on Jonathan Mays, who's here with us in person, to discuss for the District Attorney's Office /CID.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here to ask for your approval to apply for a grant for a temporary position within my office. It's a gaming detective. We've held this position for the last 3 years, and the grant would fund that position, salary and benefits, and also fund partial salary of an attorney within the office. The grant is designed to fund our investigations of any illegal gambling that might occur throughout the county. And I appreciate the opportunity to apply for it and continue our work in that area.
Questions? Entertain a motion.
I will move to approve the PA Gaming Control Board local law enforcement grant application of $145,421 for the District Attorney's Office CID.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That's a man of confidence walking out.
When I got up, I was like, oh, too soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item 20, I will call on Eric Radnovich to discuss the contract for the District Attorney's Office FID.
Good morning, Commissioners. The contract before you is for $31,095 for Gray Key Gray Shift. It is the piece of software we use to unlock and crack iPhones in our digital laboratory.
Any questions for Eric?
Nope.
We have a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the Gray Shift LLC contract for District Attorney's Office in the amount of $31,095.
A second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Mhm.
Thank you, Eric. All right, moving on to agenda item 21, I will call on Holly Sherman to discuss the contract addendum for human resources. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning. The contract I have before you is with Travelers. It is for the county's July 1st, 2023 through July 1st, 2024 property and liability insurance. Going through the renewal process, Travelers is putting before us an 8.6% increase. That breaks down to a 6.5% premium increase and a 2.1% exposure increase. The exposure is based on growth of the county, additional towers, inland marine and building values. If you may recall, we did undergo an appraisal of all of our buildings in late 2022, early 2023. It was the first that we had done an appraisal in 20 plus years, which adjusted building values up by $13 million. If there's no questions, I would ask for approval today.
I will move to approve the Travelers Contract Addendum for Human Resources as discussed.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Carries.
Thank you, Holly. All right, moving on to agenda item 22, I will call on Sue Carpal to discuss the contracts for MHIDD. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, everybody. So the contracts today are for early intervention. The first three contracts are are amendments for fiscal year 22-23. We have Feeding Little Bellies, which is an increase of $4,984 for additional services, bringing their contract to $49,270. We have Early Bird Therapy with an increase of $52,638 for additional services. And that brings their contract to $379,630. And we have Living Unlimited with an increase of $1,097 for additional services, which brings their contracts to $5,500. The next set of contracts are also early intervention. They are the new contracts for fiscal year 23-24. So we have Living Unlimited starting again for fiscal year 23-24. Their initial contract amount will be $5,045. Just a reminder that we start the contracts where the provider ended up this year. And so there will be increases most likely throughout the next fiscal year. So we see some decreases in the beginning, but we will be back for amendments as these providers pick up more children. So moving on, the next contract is Grow and Tell Seedlings. New contract for fiscal year 23-24. Their contract amount will be $12,436. Matico Pediatric Therapies, new contract for fiscal year 23-24. Contract amount will be $5,830. United Cerebral Palsy of Central PA, new contract for fiscal year 23-24. $117,423 is their new contract amount. Building Blocks Therapy, new contract for fiscal year 23-24. Their contract amount will be $84,473. And then we have Aspirations, new contract for 23-24. It's an increase of $2,603. And their new contract amount will be $281,872. Is there any questions?
No.
I will move to approve the contracts for MHIDD as set forth on the agenda and discussed this morning.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 23, I will call on Rebecca Finke to discuss the contract addendum for the prison. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. So the addendum would take this contract from a 12-month contract that started back on July 1st of 2022, and it would extend it to 21 months ending April 30th of 2024. If you recall, this is the first year that the contract has been solely the responsibility of the prison. It had previously been split with MHIDD. The reasons that we have needed to request the increased amount prior to COVID, when we stopped all providers coming in, we usually had about a maximum of 8 sentenced special offenders that would partake in this counseling and require evaluations at any given time. What we've seen over the last year is that we have almost 12% of our population are special offenders. Currently, we have 18 offenders that are pretrial, 17 that are sentenced to the county facility, and 17 that are engaged in treatment at this time, and 4 awaiting SCI. I did go back about 6 months to see what the population was then, and I do think that this is going to be our new normal, that these numbers will continue to carry through. Now, what we have been able to do is begin to group groups enough of the inmates in the work release unit and on a specialized unit so that PA counseling may begin to decrease the number of individual sessions and move back to doing group therapy. That may allow us to reduce costs, but we're still going to have individuals that require individual sessions. We have a female right now that can't be in a group. We have a gentleman housed in medical who can't be in a group. We have a gentleman who is has a keep separate and has to be kept on a separate unit. But that is the explanation for the increase in costs going forward.
Any questions for Rebecca?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. For motion.
Yeah, move to approve the contract addendum for PA counseling services for the prison as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Rebecca. Moving on to agenda item 24, I will call on Michael Halkias to discuss the contract for Public Defender's Office. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. This is for replacement of our case management software. We currently have UCM, which is being phased out at the end of the year, and this would be a replacement. BTM is currently being used by our probation and district attorney's offices. So the integration into our system should not be very difficult.
Any questions for Michael?
I will move to approve the BTM Software Solutions LLC contract for the Public Defender's Office.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Great, moving on to agenda item 25, I will call on Claudia Garner to discuss the contracts for public safety. Good morning, Claudia.
Good morning, everybody. I have 3 items on the agenda, and I'll go one at a time since they are completely different. The first, public safety, is asking for your approval of a license agreement with American Tower Corporation for access and use of their monopole tower site located just across the county borders at Shermansdale Fire Company in Perry County. This tower site will become part of our P25 radio project infrastructure, where we will place antennas and microwave dish on the tower with a shelter, generator, and propane tank located on the fire company property. This agreement is a 14-year agreement with 3 additional renewal terms of 5 years each, and has a cost of $2,050 per month that will begin September of 2023. And it has a 3% escalator annually. So year 1 cost would be $24,600. This location specifically will play a vital role in the overall tower site footprint and the first responder life safety, in that it's going to alleviate the current issue for Shermansdale Fire Company and Middlesex Township Police, where both have experienced little to zero radio coverage in frequent response locations right along our borders as they serve our county residents and visitors. This will be a property use the property use and easement agreements for the land specifically will be forthcoming. We don't have those yet, but this is only for the use on the monopole tower. So we're asking for your motion to approve of this 14-year license agreement with American Tower in the amount of $2,050 per month with a 3% escalator plus utilities.
Are we going all three first? Or?
You can do all three at once.
Okay, so let's proceed then.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the contracts for public safety as presented, which includes ATC Sequoia LLC, Shippensburg University, and Mayor Dussel.
Do you want me just to review the other two before you second that motion?
Yeah, let's do it that way.
Okay. The second one is also a license.
Apologies.
That's okay. The second one is also.
Hearing, there's obviously some kind of a tech problem.
There is, it's
yes.
breaking up. So let me
Thanks.
retract my motion, and can I start with just approving the one with ATC Sequoia? Or should we just go through all three?
It's really up to you. Let's just continue on
All
through
three
it.
is fine.
That's fine.
Okay, thanks, Vince.
Sure, thanks for clarification.
All right, so the second item is also a license agreement. This one is with Shippensburg University for access and permission to mount equipment at their Seth Grove Stadium on the campus. There is no lease or rental fee for this, but we are responsible for paying utilities at the shelter. This is a 10-year agreement and renewable beyond that with written approvals from both parties. So we'll be asking for your approval for this no-cost agreement with Shippensburg University. The third item on our agenda is we're asking for your signatures of approval on an engagement letter with Mayor Dussel Certified Public Accountants. This firm, as you may recall, was contracted by PEMA to do the annual audits of the 911 Uniform Fund financial statements for Cumberland County. Their objective is to audit and provide an expression of opinion as to whether or not our financial statements are fairly presented, free from misstatement, and in compliance with all the provisions of the laws and regulations. They were first contracted in 2017 as a third-party auditor, and they have remained on board ever since. So they'll be completed by the end of this year, so December 31, 2023. They'll provide us a written report as well as one to PEMA to summarize their findings.
Questions for Claudia? Okay, there was a motion made. Vince, is that acceptable to you?
Yeah.
We just carry a motion forward? Okay.
Correct,
So
yeah.
a second.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 26, I will call on Ron Kerr, who's been waiting very patiently here with us to discuss the contract with the sheriff's office.
I'm in front of you asking for approval for Lexipol LLC. Lexipol LLC is a web-based policy and procedure management system, that enables us to create industry-specific policies and procedures that are based upon best practices in case law. It also contains a daily training component on all current policies and requires the deputies to make appropriate policy-based decisions on scenarios. All this combined ensures the safety and appropriate decision-making, thus reducing the liability for the public, the deputies, and the county. Brian Ward wrote this, if that means anything.
It sounds like
It is an increase of $1,066.64.
Any questions for Ron?
you read it very well, but
That's not words that I would use, but
there's no questions. Do we have a motion?
I will move to approve the Lexipol LLC contract for the sheriff's office.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Right, I will now hand it back over to Stacy. Thanks, Angela. That takes us then to agenda item 27, which is Commissioner's Liaison Reports, and I'll start by calling on Commissioner Eichelberger.
Yeah, I just need 30 seconds. Justin asked me to pass along that the household hazardous waste that was event that was held June 17th, very successful, 336 customers. They collected 30,460 pounds total. Of that 30,460, 22,782 is pounds of paint. Continues to be by far the #1 item that we're collecting. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Fauci.
Well, good morning, everyone. I would remind you to use the Cumberland County Library System. As we know, the summer programs are up and running and they are fantastic. Carolyn came in yesterday and gave her update to the board on what is going on at the library. And so life at the library is fantastic, and it really is such a great service to Cumberland Countyans as well as the region. HAP's coordinating committee meets tomorrow morning. The Planning Commission met on June 15th, and so we did that planning meeting. There was quite a bit going on. The County Comprehensive Planning is working on an update to that and how they're going to go about doing that. There was a distinct amount of discussion at the meeting about that approach to the County Comprehensive Plan. MPC review, the report total for May was 8 reviews, year to date was 22, and previous year to date was 22. Right on track. And we have the subdivision and land development activity, and the report total for the month, the plan count was 16, year to date it's 78, and previous year to date it was 64. So as we've talked about before, there's a lot going on in terms of subdivision and land development plans. Middlesex Township that was recommended for approval for their zoning map amendment to rezone 2 properties from commercial highway to industrial general. North Middleton Township, the comprehensive plan was recommended for approval. And we talked about the Cumberland County Comprehensive Plan update. So that was another really great planning meeting. The Stop Violence Against Women Task Force, we met yesterday. I attended a webinar. All of the stop groups are going to have to go through their protocols, and this appears to be a state mandate. So that was about an hour webinar on the process of doing that. Monday night, I went to CapCog in Vince's place. I am his alternate, and boy, was that an interesting meeting. I have not been to CapCog. It was very nice to see everyone, and I will tell you that the hot topic was the P25 radios. Hot topic. I keep telling you that the Western COG, that is a hot topic at the Western COG. There is conversation regarding the affordability of the radios and regarding how are we going to handle the ARPA money that Vince and I went ahead and said, okay, our municipalities are, who can have this money, municipalities, EMS, fire, police, they can have this money to buy these radios, but how are we really going to handle that? Are we going to let that just be for Motorola? Are we going to let that also be used for Harris? How is that going to work? So we had a really lengthy discussion about that at CapCog, as we have at Western COG. So I'm very hopeful that next week when we have executive session, we can figure this out and go ahead and move forward. But certainly I have now heard from, well, almost everyone that this is a very, very serious matter. So just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. And that is all I have, Stacy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DiFilippo.
Yes, thank you. Hope you can hear me well. Gene, thanks again for filling in at CapCog. I know that's one of my favorite groups to associate with and work with. The Ag Board met on June 14th. Finally, we have approval for 4 of the farms from 2021, which applied for additional federal aid. And those 4 farms should settle later this year. We are on target for our goal of 2030 for 30,000 acres of preserved farmland. We are seeing a decrease in the number of new applicants for the county program, and we think that could be due to a couple of things. Maybe we need to do a better job of getting news word of the program. Stacy Kornman, who is a associate member, she said that she will try to get something in Kadick in their advertising just to promote the program. And we're seeing a steady increase in easement values. And we don't know yet if this is causing maybe a decrease in applications because ag land is increasing in value. The board did decide to leave things as is for this year and look at where we are next year. The Aging Advisory Board met last Friday. We finally got a grant approval for Echo Housing, so we will have a cottage that we will be putting somewhere here this year. The governor had signed an executive order for what is called a master plan for older adults. This will be a 10-year plan, and there will be multiple sessions scheduled throughout the state, and that will include Cumberland County. Nothing yet has been scheduled, but these will be in-person meetings, also online and email, so people will be able to provide their comments. And finally, I just want to note we are seeing an increase in older adult protective service reports and investigations. And that's all I have at the moment, Stacy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. That takes us then to agenda item 28. I would like to report that an executive session was held on June 15, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel. And at this time, I'll ask if there's any other business to come before the board today. Okay, hearing none, seeing none.